In life, when I get no's, and it doesn't matter if it's in business or sales, like you're always selling. You understand? So if you're listening to this right now, you're like, I'm going to skip this up because I'm not a salesperson. Just so you know, wrong. If you want something in life, you're going to go after it. You're going to have to sell yourself. Like, why are you the one that's promoted? Because you're selling yourself. How did you get with your partner or your husband? Like, you were the winner. You sold yourself. You're always selling yourself.
Hello, beautiful souls. You are going to love today's episode. If you want your story to sound like so many of the guests on this show, then you've probably realized that healing your relationship with money is a key piece of the puzzle. Don't worry, I've got you. Head to moneywoundquiz.com and answer 6 quick questions to learn which money wounds are blocking you. And I'll send you an email with a link to a money healing masterclass for free. No more waiting. Go take the quiz now. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the show. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that all of this stuff that I've been teasing to you for so long, that I've been creating behind the scenes, is finally out in the world. It is here. So I know that the podcast is really about giving value, and it's definitely not a sales pitch, but I also just want to say, oh my gosh, the Wealthy and Woo Club is so incredible. If you are wanting to transform your personal finances, build the bank account of your dreams that grows and grows, and really create lasting wealth for yourself, this is an incredible place to do it. You get on-demand core curriculum that takes you through this transformation. I've got journal prompts, guided audios and visualizations, all kinds of stuff to make this transformation as seamless and easy as possible. And then we do monthly live Q&As. We bring in guest experts. It is just like the bee's knees of a wealth building community. And it's $7 per month. Like, I still can't even get over that pricing. In fact, I want to do the math and figure out, like, what is that per day? So let's see. In a 30-day month, you guys, it's less than 25 cents a day to be in Wealthy and Woo Club. So I'm putting the link in the show notes. You are so invited. I would absolutely love to have you in there. And as soon as you jump in, say hi, tell me that you listen to the podcast, and we will get to jam together and really work on helping you to build the bank account of your dreams. And it would be my absolute honor. The other thing that I've launched is the Wealthy Soulpreneur Society. And depending on when this episode comes out, the doors may already be closed, because that's one where I'm only opening doors like every once in a while, and otherwise it's going to be on wait list. But for those of you who are entrepreneurs and are wanting to not only build your personal wealth, but use your business as the vehicle for building personal wealth, Wealthy Soulpreneur Society is for you. And so many of the incredible programs that you've heard me talk about in the past that I've sold for thousands of dollars just for that one program, all live inside of Wealthy Soulpreneur Society, as well as monthly heart seat coaching. Again, having live trainings drop every month or guest experts come in. It is just an absolute abundance of information, plus a completely kick-ass community. And that one's only $47 per month. So I'll throw that link in the show notes as well. Again, it may be on wait list, so you may have to just jump into Wealthy and Woo Club for a little bit, and then you can join Wealthy Soulpreneur Society if you're an entrepreneur and you're wanting to focus on your business finances as well. But I am just so thrilled to have these two things out in the world, and really sincerely hope that you'll consider joining. All right, today's interview is with Cynthia Stant. She's so cool. I was on her podcast, and we just have this like lovely connection via Facebook, and just both being mamas and just many similarities. But Cynthia is a sales consultant, a brand strategist, and a self-made millionaire. So she helps 6-figure entrepreneur women get to 7 figures by switching from what she calls a scalable business model to a premium business model, and where they work less, earn more, attract clients, etc. It's funny because I'm going in the opposite direction. Not really. Like, I still have a premium business model, but I'm actually so excited to be offering these very, very affordable ways to work with me, which are also so scalable. Like thousands of people could be in there and that would be great. And you would feel so well taken care of. And there's still, of course, ways to work with me at a high level as well. But nevertheless, you are going to love to hear Cynthia's story and her journey just to entrepreneurship and wealth. So listen in. Hello, welcome back to the M Makes Money show. I am super excited because I have my friend and sales money-making genius, Cynthia Stant here. Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Emily. You were absolutely fantastic on my podcast, and I'm just super happy that we got to swap this and hang out again together. So I'm excited.
Yeah, we've been like connecting in the DMs. I think it's so fun when you meet like other mamas who are entrepreneurs and have this big vision for wealth, but also are just like very down to earth and real, authentic people. So we were celebrating, I don't know if you're sharing this publicly, but you got like a new vacation home. I don't know. You down to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, no, first of all, I built my whole business on the fact that it's called social media. Like people forget that social, it's called a DM, but what does DM stand for? Direct message. Go to people, have conversations. Not that this is for you and me, but where does money come from? It comes from people. Like you have to have conversations with people, whether you're cross promoting like we are, actually making sales or getting referrals. But yeah, it was fun to celebrate. I think that's the best part about the internet and DM is that you're in California, I'm in Florida, and here we are hanging out, getting to know each other. You're celebrating with me. Like it's through this little box right here that all over the world. I just got off an interview and she's in Australia, literally across a few oceans. Feels I love it about you. It means I already like you, but I'm a Disney nerd. I'm a Disney mom. I live in Orlando. You have Disneyland. For me, dreams do come true. We just bought our first short-term rental. We have a lot of real estate, but that's our first short-term to celebrate the happiest place on earth. So it's mine. I got it. And I'm going to bring some income in with it as well.
Yes. Congratulations. I know. It's very inspiring to me because we have been looking to get our first Airbnb this year. Like the California market's gone a little soft. So it's like the perfect time to like finally jump in. And that's the vibe is enjoy it. Let it be for you personally and make you money at the same time.
Yeah. You know, it's funny though. I'll post pictures and everything when it's officially closed, but my husband's making fun of me because he loves getting his hands dirty. Like I'm very much the CEO and everything I do, as in I'm the visionary, I'm the shot caller, I'm the face, I'm the people person. He loves being in the grind. He loves like hiring the contractors. He likes making sure the work gets done. He loves running the books and things like that. But I got to this property and I went to go see it by myself. And damn it, the pictures they must have shown were like on the very first day, right?
Oh, no.
3 years in. But the good news is this thing is already turning and burning. It's doing great as far as investments. But I walked in, I was like, what is all these smudges on the wall? Like these carpets? No. I'm like, where's the comforters? There's nicks and all the furniture. And he's, hey, that's people come and they party when they're in Orlando. You know that. And I'm like, that's right. He goes, a little bit of lipstick, a little bit of love. We're going to get there. So I was like, okay, that's right. Real estate hat. It's okay. That's how it makes money, Cynthia.
It's so true. I'm that way as well. Like I just cannot, if stuff's smudged and nicked and whatever, I'm like, oh, this does not meet my standard. So, okay. So let's talk about how you made your money. Because obviously like you've had a journey and we'll probably spend a lot of time digging into that. But I actually want to do it backwards with you. If you could just talk about what you're making now, where your money comes from, and then we'll dive into the journey of it.
Yeah, so I am a sales consultant. The reason I say consultant is because I really like empowering women to be the CEOs of their business, like really do that. Yeah, I definitely am a coach. I am a mentor, but I use the title consultant because I hate when women are like, oh, but my coach says I can't. I'm like, you're the boss of your business and of your life. So I'm a consultant because I'm here to recommend to you what works, what I see not work. But regardless, let's go over the smorgasbords of opportunities and which one feels aligned for you. You decide as the boss. I can help you decide, but like you get to choose. And then I will support you in all those different things. I do everything sales related. So I work with women who want to achieve their first 6 figures and beyond. I help women who are getting to multiple 6. We just did a testimonial today. I literally cried my eyes out. One of my clients celebrated having $1 million company in her first year doing business after work. And then of course, I work with a lot of multiple 7-figure women as well who have big sales teams, and I go in and I train them. Yeah, I did things a little backwards. I feel like a lot of times in the coaching industry, we're taught to charge low because you're new, and then you have to raise your prices and you don't want to lower them ever, which I agree with, but start low and then work your way up and create that ascension plan and have that client go through this whole thing, which is true. Like you could, but there's many ways to do this, right? So I really think about this, and something I stand for is a lot of us who are taking on this coaching industry, it's not because we're the faint of heart. It's not because we're like guessing if we can do this. Like we have a knowingness, we have an expertise that we are willing to literally put ourselves out there about and change the world with. So what happens is most of us have gone to college. Most of us have our degrees. Most of us were really high achieving executive leaders. We were getting to the point where we're like, damn it, I'm doing everything here and there's nowhere else to go. I've got to the top. My income is capped. And I still somehow have a boss tell me when my schedule is, right? And so now you come into the online world and you're like, I'm new. This is weird. This is a little overwhelming. I'm not going to lie, a little intimidating. So you hire a coach, and a coach, a certain one might say, this is the system. You got to follow it like this. And again, I'm not here to teach you a system. I'm here to help you channel your system. But what happens is they have you start low. So I was like, no, I know I'm an expert. I was making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, close to $500,000 in my corporate position. And I actually was fired from my corporate position. Long story. I guess we're going to get into that, right? But so I started a company with no program, no testimonial, no clients. And I was like, man, I have a lot of money to make back, like very quickly. And so I decided to start in a premium level, a luxury level. Like I knew the value I could give to people. I used to coach sales and manage sales, and I would have conversations with people. They'd go do the thing I said and they make $100,000+. Why would I charge 97? Why would I charge 50? Tell me, trust me, it took me a long time to get here. But when I started my business, I'm very grateful that I had that exposure, that confidence, that money mindset before. My first year in business, my 4th month, I created a 6-figure company, multiple 6 figures in 6 months. Around the, I think 7th month, we started hitting like 70,000. So we're just kind of like doubling as we, and then we're going into our 3rd year of business. So you know what, I'm being dead up. I know this is crazy because I really should know. And I promise you, I'm not making this up. I don't actually know how much we've made. It hasn't been a focus for me anymore. Because I'll tell you why. I know I have multiple millions of dollars in assets. Why? Because my husband is one crunching numbers on that company. Though I choose not to focus on the numbers, to focus on the service. And it's because I'm unconditioning myself from all the days of being a salesperson. Yeah. It's because it was all about leaderboards. It was all about gun to your head, Cynthia, where's the next sale? I'm a woman who straight up, I hate saying this, but it's my truth. And I just have to acknowledge it's my past, but it's not who I am anymore. I've missed my kids' birthdays so many times. I missed every single trick-or-treating. I get teary-eyed still because I'm like angry at the past, but it is what it is. Like I'm here now. But I've missed trick-or-treating. I've missed New Year's Eve. Why? What dates do they fall on?
What's that?
What dates do they fall on? Halloween. New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
last day of the month.
That's like where, when I started my business, I know for a fact getting fired was the most beautiful thing ever, because now it's time to do things on my own. And so one of the things that I actually truly decided to do was not focus on the numbers, focus more on anything on lifestyle. Yeah. Because before, if there was a 2:00 phone call and that's the only time they're available because they're in Australia, like I would take it. Yeah. So now in my company, we're going our 3rd year in the business, but I don't work Mondays. I don't work Fridays. I do have a little bit of marathon of a days when I'm working, especially on Thursdays, as we're recording now, my podcast days. But I'm getting paid to talk, like, and have fun and hang out and stuff. So I think that's crazy about me. And it's some really deep work that I've done. I will say we are a 7-figure company, but I can't tell you how much, to be honest.
That's so funny. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I check every month because I share it on the podcast, but I also feel like I'm extra aware right now because we just did taxes. So it's like you got your tax returns for each business and all that good stuff. But I do think it shows like how far you've healed. I'm curious, like, what does your team look like in your business? I
have 1 employee. Yeah. That's one of my gifts. I'm really good at managing people and really good at managing my own life. I think how you do one thing, it's how you do everything. But yeah, everywhere I go, people are like, how do I get one of her? I bring my assistant. Really, she's everything in my company. Marketing director. She's my executive assistant. She's making sales right now. She does customer service. She does my event planning. She edits my podcast, does all of my marketing.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
But she's off at 5. She doesn't work in mornings. She gets certain days off. When I get my makeup done, she gets her makeup done. Like we do, she gets treated well. So we make a really good team, but it's all just learning about discipline really and managing your profit reducing activities, which is definitely a big sales thing.
Yeah, for sure. So you help women like really transform their relationship with sales, which also probably is relationship with money. So how often do you notice like money mindset stuff coming up in your work?
It happens a lot in the beginning. Obviously, that's like where you usually see it. And it doesn't matter where they are in their business, but I would say you probably notice this too, is when you're newer to being an entrepreneur. And it's funny because when you first start, you're just feeling like, I'm new. But again, that's just the story you're telling yourself. I always remind people like, so did you go to college? And almost always, and this is, I went to school, right, for marketing. I think I shared this with you. I have a minor in advertising from a very good school. And I had a flip phone in college. I'm still young. My whole business is on social media. So I'm not like, oh, I went to college. I'm like, because I didn't learn shit. Okay, out now. So I don't flaunt that. But I'm just saying, I still paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for that education. A lot of people do. I think about it and all the training that my corporate had put into me. I've had so many coaches from corporate. I've had leadership trainings from corporate. That costs a lot. You can see my bookshelf behind me if you're on video. I've read all of these books. I put a lot of time into this energy. I went to the College of Metaphysical Studies. I went and trained over there, the spirituality and mindset side of things.
Yeah.
The list goes on. Oh my gosh. Since October, I had an event, but since October, in my personal mentorship, I think I've invested probably $135,000 in cash, right?
Yeah.
Like that. Why? So I can give more. That's the value, is understanding when you package that, you're getting all of my knowledge, all of my wisdom, all of my time, all of my energies put in a little box. Can an hour really transform somebody's life? Absolutely, because you're taking 10 years and I'm literally picking the files out that you need, right?
Yeah.
So I say that to what I do, and I say that to my client. They're like, oh my God, you're right. I did do that. I do that. Like, how much are you investing in me right now? It's not cheap to work with me. I'm like, think about how much you are spending to work with me. They're like, oh my gosh, you're right. It's just remembering your worth. And also too, I always look at every woman. I'm like, you are a multi-million-dollar woman. I see it. But if you don't feel that way yet, you don't have to charge that yet. You just got to charge what feels right and lights you up and makes you excited. And also too, just know your numbers so that you can live your lifestyle. Think about that. That's the first thing I always do. It's just like, how many days, what week do you want to be off? They're like, what do you mean what week? I'm like, no, like at least what weeks? Where do you want to take off? When do you want to be? How do you want to travel? Because we can literally price things to match the lifestyle that you want. And that's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I know there was the point in your wealth building journey where you guys were broke and the situation wasn't looking good. Was that after you were fired from corporate or was that earlier on?
No, that was earlier on. Yeah. Broke as a joke. You are not kidding. Yeah. So let me give you the rundown really quick. I'm going to do the fast version of like my money story and all of that. I think usually I don't share this part, but when you're doing like real money work, we got to admit it starts when we're a little child, right? So I guess further back than usual. I think when I was younger, I saw my mother work 3 jobs to take care of me and provide the life she wanted. My mom was 10 years younger than my dad, and my dad got his girlfriend from high school pregnant. And so at 17, he became a dad. And then a year later, they had a second child. And so he always worked since he was 17 years old. And when eventually that marriage didn't work out, not surprising, they were 17 when they got married.
Yeah.
He was like, I think later in life, he was like 30 when my mom was 20. So 10 years younger.
Yeah.
So they decided to get married. And my mom basically had to work all these jobs to help my dad pay for these kids' colleges.
Yeah.
So it was, and then they had 2 kids. It's me and my sister. And so there's 4 kids, even though she had 2, but out of love, like she hustled her hiney off. And she did 3 jobs. One of which was she worked at the bank in the morning. She was a teller at PNC. And then she worked at the men's shoe department at JCPenney's. And then my dad and her owned a bar, and at night she would bartend. And then she'd come late and she'd give me a kiss and she would tell me, I love you. And I would always be awake. I knew, like I would feel the kisses. And I just remember that. My dad, he was like a serialpreneur, but like the weirdest, like literally, get ready, hold on. He had a lighting company for like emergency lightings, like when you're at the bowling alley or school and the lights go off, goes out. He had a pool company to change the covers of pools. He had the little lollipops. You put 25 cents in and you would grab one. People would steal them all the time, all the coins and lollipops, but like he would leave them around. He had little bakeries. So, when you go to the gas station and there's like little buns and tasty cakes, like he would go to freezers along 95 and stop and get them. He owned a battery business, which was just batteries. So it did boats and everything. He had, this one, since I was 3 years old, I would roll newspapers starting at 4 o'clock in the morning. I would go to school with my hands black, right? Because I would deliver the papers too before school. I started doing it before. So I saw people work. Okay. I saw people work. I saw my mom with no college education climb to the top. She became the vice president of the third largest financial firm in the world.
Wow.
2008 is when, all that shit happened in the economy. And I remember she lost her position after being there for 16 years. She lost it and it shook her so hard. She honestly, I don't think she's ever been the same since then, because she had so much pride. Like that's who she was, like dressing beautiful and going to the boardroom meetings and traveling. So these are all the conditioning that I have. I think it's funny that my dad never really had a job, as all these little things. So that's what's instilled in me. And that but of course is my story as well. That's what ends up happening. So I've never kept a job for more than 2 years. Either I got bored with it, quit, or got fired. I'm not really good at following the rules. I'm good at making my own. So kind of like my dad, I just did a bunch of everything. I like to do it my way. And then I did the whole climb the corporate ladder thing like my mom. So I went to school, graduated. By the way, what happened was I was working full time, going to school full time, and I was working at restaurants. And I remember, Cynthia, like if you're going to make money, the way to do that is look at where the margins are, which is in the back of the menu and the wine and spirit. So study those. I remember I was 21 and I would go make my money and I'd actually go to the wine store and I would buy these really expensive wines so I could actually taste them. And I remember I'd go to the boss and I'd be like, hey, can you talk to the distributor and see if I can get like tasting notes or any study sheets or anything? He's like, what? Why? I'm like, because I want to learn this. So I really understood that serving. And by the way, if you want to find really good salespeople, go hire some servers.
Yeah.
They know how to really communicate, upsell, create an experience, multitask. I have all these tables, speak well, like it's all the different things. I really understood how to create an experience. I recommended things that people didn't even know they wanted. Like I knew what they wanted and I helped them and they get more and more. And then I literally was walking away with 30% more than all my friends while going to school. And one day I had a table and they were like quizzing me, right? They knew their stuff about wine, but I really don't know about wine. I just know about the wine on that menu.
Yeah.
But I did a great job. And when they left, they actually left their business card and they said, please come and apply for us. It's like, what is this? Who is? And turns out they were the executive team for the largest distributor in the world when it comes to wine and spirits.
Wow.
Literally that same night, I was so excited. I was like, ooh, maybe a big girl job, but do I really need this? Maybe when I graduate, all of a sudden that same night, I just had this weird feeling and I found out I was actually pregnant and I was dating my bartender for only a few months when I found out this happened. And it was what? Just so you know, update, we've been married for 11 years now. We absolutely adore each other. It was all meant to be. But when I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh, I definitely need this big girl job. I need to do something. I remember it was 13 interviews. Ooh. Take Excel exams while they watched me over my shoulder and timed me. And I had to practice pitching to them and practicing leading this. It was crazy. So I ended up getting it. I was the youngest and one of 4 women in the entire world with this position. And I was scared out of my mind because I'm literally just a server. I don't know what they saw in me, but I got this really big girl position. So I was the brand manager for Jim Beam for the Northeast region.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool. So people think Jim Beam is just old man bourbon, which I love. It's great. But no, they have Pinnacle Vodka, which is dirty pumpkin spice and all the flavors and all the sizes. Skinny Girl was part of that. Salsa Tequila, Cavassier, this is the second biggest portfolio in the world. And I'm responsible for every flavor, every size, and every salesperson with every hotel, restaurant, liquor store, bar, casino in the entire Northeast region. So I went home and cried a lot. Nobody knew. I would show up in my cheetah power suit every day and I would keep up with the boys. And I was managing bourbon. I was surrounded by men all the time. But my job was to forecast, to budget, to provide the tools and programs for my sales team to be successful, to train them, to manage them out in the field, and to build the relationships so that we guarantee our success. The 2 years that I did that, I was actually we took my region's number one in the country both times. But remember, I don't stay any long. So 2 years and I was done.
Yeah.
What happened was I just remember looking around, and although it was really sexy and cool to be in that world at first, there's a lot of darkness that comes in that industry too, as you can imagine. Alcoholism, adultery, all these trips and stuff, and people like just not abusing alcohol. There are times that you go check in accounts at 10 a.m. There's people literally in line with $5 waiting for the doors to open. So I think too, what was hard is I had a baby that I was with. Like, I did this for him. Oh, I still get emotional when I think about that. I did that for him and I never saw him. I was putting him into daycare when he was 2 months old. When are people drinking? Nights, holidays, weekends. I'm not with him. So it was sexy and cool in the beginning. And then I realized, like, is this for me? I'm talking fast, aren't I? I told you it's a long story. The thing is, I remember I had a boss and I adore her. She literally just texted me today. Isn't that crazy from when I worked back then? She's somebody I really admire. I still love. We're still cool. She celebrates me all the time. But I remember thinking, okay, where would I go in this company if I stayed here? And I liked her because she was a woman. Like, we were like one of the few. I don't know if it's correlated. I'm not judging. I'm just like paying attention, like thinking about where would I be? She had 2 heart attacks and a divorce.
Yeah.
Okay, get those numbers in. Okay, so I'm like, I don't know if I want to be here. That's when I really kind of found some spirituality, okay, there has to be more. Like, I really started studying some stuff. I remember I found this book by Michael Bernard Beckwith called Life Visioning. And you got to just have clarity on what you want and put it out there and own it, claim it, and just really focus on it. So I was like, okay, if I could have anything in the world, what would it be? And I was like, I would love to not be in Delaware where it's cold. I want to go somewhere tropical and warm like Florida. I would love to make way more money and a job where I'm not stuck in an office. Like, I went and traveled places sometimes, but like I very often was just crunching numbers on my laptop all damn day. And I want to learn from somebody who's doing something really cool that's really wealthy. So I kid you not, 2 weeks into reading this book and practicing, and of course not telling anyone, my husband calls me in my office and he says, babe, just hear me out. I'm like, okay, what? I really just want to move to Florida. And I was like, okay, why? He says, I had this friend from college and he built multiple $1 million real estate portfolio in Elmira, New York, like this really rundown town apparently. And he did really well. And so now he's from Israel, my husband plays soccer. And literally anytime you walked into my house, like there's like 40 men and they're all gorgeous with perfect hair and none of them speak English, right? Some are from Africa, some are Italian, some are from Colombian. And I'm always calling my girlfriends. I'm like, ladies, fiesta at my house, come over. So anyway, very worldly. And so he had this friend from Israel and his family was like, whoa, his friends were like, how did you do this? We want to invest in you. So he's okay, I'm going to do it a second time. And he went and found this market in Florida. He's like, look, we're going to be his apprentice. We're going to learn everything from him and we're going to learn how to do this for ourselves. And I was like, what the actual, I did that. Like, I just life visioned that into life. Like, it happened. And I was like, yeah. He's like, really? He said, yeah. So I walked into the office and I quit that day. And the hard part was telling my family. And it wasn't because I was leaving, it's because I was taking the grandbaby. That was really hard. I think my family didn't talk to me for like at least a year. But we did it. In fact, we did over 300 houses in 1 year, where I will tell you, it is not like the glamorous shows. Literally was the most rundown, shittiest place in the entire state of Florida. I actually saw like dead bodies when I was there. Not kidding. I'd bust into these houses. By the way, I'm now having my second baby. Okay. Second baby, my on purpose baby. And I'm super preggo, just like going into these houses. There's rats, there's like needles, but we were buying like these houses that were like 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom for $35,000. It was crazy.
Wow.
$150,000 now, right?
Yeah.
We would find them. We would really we would purchase them. We would then renovate them and then we would rent them out and we would manage them after they were rented. So we did 300 in 1 year, learning how to do this together as a team. And then I got the news. So let me just tell you this part because it's important. I had my baby and I decided it's time to chill. I'm going to be really present with this baby. And I sucked at it. I just felt like I kept telling myself, I'm not good at being a mom. Like I have a great chance to now, and I don't know how to, because my brain was always having meetings before going to the big meeting. And my brain would always be delegating or going to this thing or going to that thing. 300 houses 1 year. Like my brain is busy. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I just got to sit and look at my cute little chunky redhead. And I couldn't relax. So I went and I found help, and I went to the College of Metaphysical Studies, having no idea what I was doing. I was carrying my little baby in his carrier, feeling like I was walking into Hogwarts. And I was like, they're like, what are you doing here? What do you want to do? I was like, I have no idea, but I feel like I'm supposed to be here. They're like, perfect. Let's get started. So my very first day of being there, I meditated. I never meditated before. I was like, what? Who has time for that? I'm like, oh, I guess I do now. And the very first time I meditated, I don't know what it was. I went off. I went somewhere. I always say that meditation is what like food and water is to your body. It is to your soul. I was thirsty. I was really thirsty. Like I just needed that. I came back into my body and I was like, yep, this is it. So I started meditating every single day. I don't think I've missed a meditation since that happened when my baby was just born. He's now 7. Meditation changed the game when it came to sales. It made it complete. I was already great at sales, but it changed it completely. So this is what happens. And this is now getting closer to the story. So I got the news that my dad had passed away, and my dad and I were closer than anything in the world, but I had to go be home. I had to be with my mom. I took the grandbabies away. She has a grandbaby. She doesn't even know, like, I can't do that to her. So I went back to Delaware, and my husband, we left the real estate portfolio behind. Again, that was not our money. We were managing for other people, but we figured, you know what, this will be fine. Both college educated. He has his master's. I had this big executive position before. I'm pretty. We'll make something happen. So we moved back. We figured we'd find jobs, and we couldn't. Like I couldn't believe we could not find jobs. Like, and to be honest, I was really liking not working and being present with my baby. Like, it's funny, you feel guilty for doing that, but like I wanted to. And so my husband, he's like, babe, I got to step up. Like our funds are like dripping. Like we thought we were going to find something so much going by. We couldn't. So he's like, look, I know what to do. I learned it. I'm going to do it for us. Like I'm going to do a real estate deal and it's going to be awesome. Got it. I am not upset with him at all. In fact, I'm still so proud of him. But sometimes big risks lead to big rewards, and sometimes they lead to extreme failures. Ours was an extreme failure. It sucked. We lost literally everything in this deal, financially speaking. And which is so funny because like it wasn't even that much now. I literally make more in a day sometimes. Craziest part. Yeah. When it happened, it shook us like crazy because we had $200 between the two of us and 2 children. And it wasn't even mine. It was his $200 because I didn't work at all. We were on food stamps. We were getting support from the government to be able to send our kids to daycare so we can go find jobs. The worst part was we didn't tell anybody because we were ashamed and embarrassed, and we didn't want to tell everybody we left to learn nothing and come back and fail.
Yeah.
I can cry thinking about it's funny, I'm not her anymore, but I can remember when I go back, and I don't go there that often. And I just remember like, I was so depressed. I was sitting in my bathrobe for 7 days straight. I looked in the mirror. Oh my God. I don't think I brushed my hair. I was wearing glasses like this. I was like, my poor husband, like, this is not the woman he wanted. Like, I'm sure, like, what am I doing? And I was like, all right, Cynthia, no more. This is the story that I've learned. This is this loop I had to go through again and again. And unfortunately, this is one of the first times. But I realized nothing outside of me, nothing, no job, no coach, money, no man, even though I love him. No one, nothing outside of me can truly be the source of my success or my happiness. Reason I was relying on him. And I've never once, and he can stand by me because he's done it on interviews. He's never once scolded me, never once yelled at me because he was doing something I wasn't. Like, why would I be mad at that? Yeah. So this is when I started making shit happen. So there's something that I really learned in life is that as a salesperson, a no does not mean a no. No means I need more clarity to say yes. And so in life, when I get no's, and it doesn't matter if it's in business or sales, like you're always selling. You understand? So if you're listening to this right now, you're like, I'm going to skip this up because I'm not a salesperson. Just so you know, wrong. If you want something in life, you're going to go after it, you're going to have to sell yourself. Like, why are you the one that's promoted? Because you're selling yourself. How did you get with your partner or your husband? Like, you were the winner. You sold yourself. You're always selling yourself. I have this gift of making positions available that aren't actually positions. And so I went back to my old boss, the same one who just texted me today. I was like, hey, I'm back. She's like, oh my God, great. Are you going to come to management? We'd love to have you. I was like, no, I don't want to make a salary and have my freedom taken away. I was like, I want to go into sales because I'll make commission. Plus I want a Yeti cooler. I want to do the trips. She was like, yeah, Cynthia, there's no sales position open. And I was like, what if I made one? And she's, what are you talking about? I was like, look, give me all the shittiest accounts. Give me the ones that nobody wants. So they created what they refer to as the D accounts for me. The D accounts, Emily, are the ones that you go into that smell like mildew and old beer. And Tom, do you know Tom? He's always there at 11 a.m. drinking a PBR and a shot of Jägermeister. Okay. Like you feel like you're in a time warp.
Yeah.
Like they buy one bottle of Jim Beam every week. That's it. That was one of the best things that ever happened to me. The bankruptcy was the best thing that ever happened to me because honestly, it helped me to discover sales. Sales saved my life and helped me to find the woman I'm capable of becoming. I have everything in my life now because I know how to sell. And that's why I stand so passionately about teaching women how to rewrite the script of what sales really is. It's not scammy. It's not sleazy. Mama, it is sexy. It is spiritual. It is serving. It's being a solution. It is freedom. It's freedom. And I want that for every woman. So I started working with these hole in the wall places and they've never got attention. So I started giving them love and really helping them. And I told them, it's not just about ordering, bro. It's about really making sure that you understand margins. If you're people like this, they're going to bad and we can create this. And what's your competition doing? We need some signage up in here. We need to like really get some promo going, like all these things. They're like, what? They went and started making so much more money. So what happens is I started climbing the ranks and I started making all the commissions and I was always number one on the board. Who sold the most Jägermeister in the entire country from the little state of Delaware? This girl.
The girl on the D account.
Give them what they want. Jägermeister and Malibu, by the way. So I worked with what I got and I really helped them. And the thing is, so when you are really doing well in sales, you end up having a lot of time. So my bosses love me, right? They'd be like, Cynthia, oh my God, it's the end of the month. I'm like, how's it going at the office? They're like, oh, we need to sell like these really expensive bourbons. I'm like, I have the D accounts. All right, I got it. Make a phone call. I'll be like, hey, Johnny, can you buy these 3 cases of bourbon? Cynthia, what am I going to do with those? I'll help you sell it. All right. And you remember that one time I helped you with this and I showed up at midnight with that and I brought you this and we made all that money with that? I got you, girl. All right. So I was just making phone calls. I would stay home. I would be at the gym in the middle of the day, getting my nails done, all the things. Still wasn't fulfilling though, right? There's only a certain amount of money that you can make being a liquor girl. And I still had a desire to do more, especially when it came to the metaphysical side of things. Being a metaphysical woman, you really start realizing sales is energetic. It's not labeling the things that you see, but really feeling into things and connecting with people. When you make sales, the only way to do it, whether you're selling a liquor bottle or a $100,000 package, is by earning trust. It's about really authentically showing up for people, being of service, being a solution, really engineering your celebrity, showing how knowledgeable you are. And that ultimately over time through consistency and repetition ends up earning trust. So that's what it's all about. And I decided, since I only worked about 2 hours a day, I should probably, I don't know, what do you think, Emily? Start a business? That'll be easy, right?
That's what your dad did. That's what you saw growing up.
Yeah. Yeah. But also too, did you see how the story of relying on my husband, like my mom relied on this corporate job for her happiness and her success?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I'm like all spiritual, I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy how this like unfolds. So then what happened was I was like, great, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to teach like spirituality. I think that's what I'll do. Not even thinking like sales. It was like spirituality. And so I hired a business coach. I loved this woman. She was so sexy and cool and she was young and she was a mom and she could slay at sales. And she was an NFL cheerleader for like my favorite team. And I was like, oh my God, I want to be her. And so I became her client and it was $450 a month. And I remember being like, whoa. She had a competition amongst her clients for the lead generation thing. And of course I went for it and I won. So I got a VIP day with her and I showed up and I always joke around. I'm super organized as part of being a salesperson, always knowing where your next sales is. So I brought a binder and I gave it to her and I said, all right, turn to orange tab, section 2, bullet 3. I was like, this is my 5-year plan, 6-month plan, my avatar, all the things. And she was like, what the heck? What do you do? What's going on? What? Like, how long have you been in my program? I'm like, a month. What? She was like, okay, you're in sales? I'm like, yeah, I'm a sales manager. I'm doing sales now. And all of a sudden I just literally heard the angels sing, oh. I was like, I'm supposed to be your salesperson. She's, oh, hell no. She said, that doesn't make sense because you're my client. Weird. Two, like, I'm literally working with interns. It's not in the budget. Being very intuitive because I'm meditating all the damn time now, I saw her potential. I knew she was going to be one of the next big things. And no, you're not going to get her name. Okay. But I told her, look, I will do this for basically nothing. I will leave my cushy commission job there. I will start at zero here, do commissions here. The only agreement is I want to be the fly on the wall. I want to be your right hand. I want to learn every time you make a decision, why you make the decision that you're making. And I just want to be your apprentice. And she was like, okay, so this costs me nothing. Okay, why not? My first month, I took what I knew from all the different sales that I've done and with spirituality, put them together, and I figured out how to social sell. So I was one of the first people. I would honestly say I believe I'm a true pioneer when it comes to social selling. And my first month, I did $670,000 in sales with a product that was $450 a month.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was crazy. So I was first salesperson. We grew her team to 85 people in 1 year. We became an 8-figure company. People started really noticing. I'm managing and making sales in multiple $1 million launches. Everyone's like, how are you making these sales? How are you making the sales? Coming to my boss. And she's like, Cynthia, how are we making these sales? And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. She pushed me out. I started coaching. She accidentally created a monster because I fell in love with it. We had thousands of clients. I'm on Zoom with all these people looking at me and I'm like literally sweating, peeing myself behind like underneath. But I had to do it my way because even though it was her brand, her company, I sell based off intuition, off of service. I sell off of feeling people in my heart and attracting them into that frequency. So women really loved it. They digged it and everybody started making sales. Like it was great. And everyone, Cynthia, I love how woo-woo you are. I'm like, I'm pretty like, I'm a shaker too. They're like, yeah, it's like you're the feminine beast. And I'm like, oh, that's sketchy. I don't know what happened, but one day I got fired and I had no idea what happened. I still don't, but I know it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I knew right there and then that I promised myself I figured it out. Never, ever again will I allow something or someone outside of me be the source of my success or my happiness.
Yeah.
It happened again. By the way, if you didn't notice, she didn't have a sales position available. Again and again, just constantly persevering to create positions that aren't available. And then finally getting smacked in the face too many times, hit by the bus, literally saying, I can't rely on people. So started my own company and didn't know what I was doing. The worst part is I had a non-compete. So even though I was great and known and engineered my celebrity as a business and a sales expert, I couldn't do that for 2 years. I'm going into my third business now. So I went back to the spirituality, but really helping CEO women to not only be the CEO of their business, but CEO of their life. Now that the non-compete is done, it was great because I had a lot of people waiting for it. So I was able to take off. But yeah, it's been an adventure. So that's
wow, truly. But this is what I love. And thank you for sharing your story and with so much rich detail, because as we were talking about before we hit record, like my mission with this podcast is for other women to heal their money wounds and really start calling in big wealth and building aligned wealth and not feeling, oh, the people on Emily's podcast are so special. They can do it, but I can't.
Oh, this is a story you wanted me to share. I'll do it quick.
Okay.
Come back to me. Okay, look, I'm starting to make money. Obviously, I'm making millions of dollars in sales. I told you I was making $500,000. I had this trauma, though, of going through that bankruptcy. That was took a toll on my marriage. Like that, like literally made me question my dignity, my self-worth, like everything. Like I didn't know who I was. I lost myself. And so as every single time I would get a big commission paycheck, especially when I started my business, because that momentum in the beginning, it's like very up and then down and up and down, like before it gets consistent.
Yeah.
I constantly would have a big win and be like, yay. Oh. And I remember I kept saying to myself, and you're very smart at this. You know exactly, you're going to label it the way it needs to be. I would say, what if I lose this?
Yeah.
And the more and more money I made, the more I was afraid because there was more to lose.
Yeah.
And I actually had a client and I went and I trained her sales team. She was my very first one. I did 8 sessions with her, 8 1-hour sessions with her team. And I took her from $250,000 months to $500,000 months every month. And she was very happy with me.
Yeah.
On a little vacation with her to Sedona. And we went and we frolicked and we meditated in the hills and stuff. And she thought it'd be fun to go see a psychic. And I'm all intuitive. I'm like, sure, why not? Like laughing because like I already am very connected to my intuition, but whatever. Yeah. My friend went first and we did the reading together and she was crying her eyes out. I'm like, whoa, this is deep. I thought it was just like a girl thing, fun thing to do. And it was my turn. She's like, you're going to be very wealthy and you're going to be very successful. And I was like, okay, cool. That's good. But then she said, ooh. I was like, oh, what? She's, your guides, they're here. And I was like, okay, what are they saying? She says, it's very clear. And I was like, what is it? She says, they're saying they want you to know you're not going to lose it. You keep asking them to show you a sign to remind you you're not going to lose it. They want you to know right now you're not going to lose it. I lost my shit. I was just started bawling. And how did this woman know? Because anytime I ever prayed, anytime I ever felt sadness, the only thing I ever asked for was like, show me, like, if I can keep moving forward, that like I am supported, that I won't lose this. Every time it comes up now, because it still does, I just am able to be like, stop. Wherever your focus goes is where the momentum goes. You got to starve the doubt. You got to feed your inner feminine beast. And remember that crazy lady who didn't know you. She said, your guide said, you're not going to lose it. So why would you focus on that? And it's helped me. That like that reading that I was gifted always reminds me like, I'm fine. It's just a thought. And even if it's not true, that like feeling of no, stop, control your thoughts don't control you, has been everything in my success. I know that. You got to focus on what you want and not what you don't want, because you're going to get, you think you can, you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes. In my world, we call that the disappearing money wound. And I don't think enough people talk about it, because it can feel silly to be like, oh no, the more money I had, the more scared I got. Oh, boo-hoo, go dry your tears with your dollar bills.
And then of course, like the numbers of income that you make now, you remember dreaming of that number, thinking that's wow, nuts. Like my first year, I was having $50,000 days. That was like my entire salary when I was getting my ass kicked all over the place before. Yeah. And then what happens though is once you make that, then it's now what? That's the thing. You have to enjoy the journey.
Yes.
And master the process of becoming, and just know that it'll be fine. And the one thing that really helps me, because this is the money show and we should probably give practical tips on what helps us with our relationship with money, is I started really thinking about this thing I did with my clients. Some of my clients will come to me, they're like, I just am not good at being a businesswoman. I'm great at being a coach. I get my coach amazing results, but I'm not good at being business. That's literally why everybody comes to me. I get my clients great results, but I don't know how to do the sales part or get more clients to get results for. So I said, okay, what is something you are really good at? They're like, my relationship. And I'm like, okay, cool. So why are you good at your relationship? She's, I guess because I'm committed. I was like, okay, what else? She's, I'm just patient. I'm like, okay, what else? I'm determined. Like, he's mine. We're always going to be together. I'm like, okay, cool. Anything else? I'm pretty forgiving too. I'm like, okay, cool. So what do you think it takes to run a successful business? They're like, I don't know. I was like, do you think you got to be committed? They're like, oh yeah. I'm like, do you think you got to be patient? They're like, oh yeah. I'm like, what about being determined? What about being forgiving? They're like, oh my God. Yeah. I'm like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. I really was having trouble with running my business too. It's one thing to be somebody's sidekick and do it on theory. It's another to like really be by yourself and not be by yourself all the time with your thoughts. I really thought about, okay, the best thing I have in my life is my love with my relationship with my husband. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. I started looking at money as love. So would you ever be like, baby, give me all the kisses, give me all the kisses, give me all the kisses? Nope, I'm not giving away any kisses. Like, good luck in that relationship. Yeah. So you can't like one on the money, and then expect not to give any of the money. Like, you're not going to have that great relationship, because that's what money is. It's relationship. I'm sure you talk about that all day, every day. Yeah. It's a relationship. So every time that I swipe my credit card, I see love. Like, I'm at the grocery store. I'm like, I'm so grateful and I feel so much love that I'm going to give this food to my family, that I'm helping the boy that's literally bagging my groceries like a sweet little kid he is. I'm paying for this amazing place that's so perfectly located next to my home. Like, I just see love and I receive love. I've done the work where I feel worthy receiving love, because I know for a fact that God does not literally look at every baby before they come into this world and stamp them on their head. Worthy. Right. This one's not worthy. I know that I'm worthy. I believe I have strong faith. I'm the child of God. Of course I'm worthy. So I'm willing to receive love. My heart was also give love. So that's Yeah.
I love that so much. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing all the wisdom. Everyone who wants to connect with you, where can they find you?
It's like, where's your favorite place? If you like podcasts, you're listening to this, come over to mine, which is Inner Feminine Beast. Super excited. We're top 2.5% rated show out of all the shows on iTunes, over 3 million shows, which is pretty cool. I'm hanging out on Facebook a lot at Cynthia Stant. I'll give you all the links. My Facebook group is Sales is Sexy and Simple with Cynthia Stant. And then, of course, my website would be cynthiastant.com.
Amazing. Cynthia, thank you so much for coming on the show. To everyone listening, thank you for tuning in, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did. Tag me at mmakesmoney, tag Cynthia at Cynthia Stant, and let us know what landed for you. I'm not going to do top takeaways like I normally do in episodes, just because it was so much about Cynthia and her story. And to me, the overwhelming theme of it was just that, like, all of these plot twists that happen in our lives are serving us. And often we can't see it until we have hindsight. But the more we can just trust and surrender and know that universe has our back, that things are working out, that somehow, some way, it's all happening for us, and that nothing is ever wasted. Like, even from when she was a waitress, and those skills that she developed there still serve her today in her business. And it's like, who could have ever predicted that? But it's true. And that's the way that the beautiful tapestry of our life is woven together, is that each of these little pieces and stories and skill sets, somehow they look like just random threads to us, and then they get woven together in this really beautiful way. And it's not until after the fact that we can see the whole tapestry and just be in awe of what universe has done with our lives. So I think Cynthia is a beautiful example of that. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode and for liking, subscribing, and sharing this show. It absolutely means the world, and I will talk to you soon. Listeners like you have made this a top 25% global podcast, so thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with someone you love. I always appreciate listener feedback, so feel free to slide into my DMs on Instagram at mmakesmoney as well. And if you want to explore hiring me as your money healer and business mentor, check the links in the show notes to explore, or head to explore.emilywillcox.com. Until next time, I'm sending you all the magic money vibes.